Hello and welcome to AI4. Our next speaker is Tokologo Phetla, and he is the Managing Director at Christopher Africa. Please join me in welcoming him to the virtual stage as he turns on his camera and starts sharing his slides. All right, take it away.
In Vegas, but because of COVID, we have to do things virtual. So my name is, what has been said, my name is Tokologo Phetla. I'm otherwise known as the Commodore in South Africa, and I own an artificial intelligence software called Christopher. Now, before I go into the slides, just to give you a brief introduction of who Christopher is, we refer to it as a person, not as an it. Christopher is a 10-year-old artificial intelligence that we've developed proudly in South Africa. And the main purpose why we developed Christopher was because we did not like the narrative of Africa being viewed as the dark continent. We believe that the world, with access to information, the world has equally smart people and talented people living across all corners. And our development and production of this AI is evidence of that. So I'm now going to take you through what this AI software does exactly, and hope you'll find this interesting. I didn't put this slide in. My shareholders and the sales directors forced me to put in the slide, but it's a bit awkward for me to talk about myself here. But basically, Christopher was first conceived in 2010 by a 16-year-old high school student, which is me. I was exposed to technology and software at a young age, and I felt the desire to create something technologically advanced, out of Africa, built in Africa by people living in Africa, something that can have global application, because I wanted to change the narrative of Africa being viewed as the dark continent, which is a narrative I strongly disagree with. And so that's kind of the main reason why we built Christopher. Now, the idea behind it came from a movie called The Imitation Game. I'm sure some of you will know it. I'm going to play you a clip of this movie where the inspiration really came from and the name. So if you haven't watched The Imitation Game, please do yourself a favor and watch the movie. It is a great movie. It's about how the Allies decrypted, Germany's Morse code signals during World War II in order to win the war by intercepting the messages. And this clip should give you a brief demonstration. So just have a listen.
So you theorized a machine that could solve any problem. It didn't just do one thing, it did everything. It wasn't just programmable, it was reprogrammable. Is that your idea behind Christopher?
Well, human brains can compute large sums very quickly. Even Hugh can do that, but I want Christopher to be smarter. To make a calculation and then to determine what to do next, like a person does. Think of it. Electrical brain. A digital computer.
Digital computer.
So that's kind of the idea. So to create a digital brain that can self-learn, self-optimize, and has a level of self-awareness when it comes to language. And through our teaching modules, that is what we've been able to achieve, as I'll show you in the next slides. Now, Christopher in South Africa is applied in the media industry. So we're used by all the major agencies in South Africa. We've worked with most of the global brands, or we do work with most of the global brands. So I'm sure if some of you are marketing managers with brands, you'll be aware of the software or the name. And it's born out of three fundamentals: that AI is becoming pivotal in marketing, that the fundamentals of marketing are now moving towards personalization. Consumers feel connected with an ad when it's personalized, and personalization can only happen where there's data and insights. Okay, so traditionally, how does social media marketing work? We all know social media presented, when it came out, it was an unprecedented opportunity for brands to interact with consumers at scale, where they're having conversations, authentic conversations. The problem is when we do run sponsored posts, we absolutely have no sight of the ad flighting. So you don't know where your ad is appearing as a brand manager. Therefore, you don't know if it's appearing in the right context, or if it's appearing at the right time, or if the content is even still relevant to the user. So we developed Christopher out of this exact reason. So Christopher offers brands the opportunity to tap into consumer conversations, organic conversations, when it's relevant to them, in order to drive a relevant message. Okay, so as a brand, you have flight of where your ad is appearing. You know that it's relevant to the consumer when it appears to them. It's appearing alongside the right context and in the right content. So it's brand safe, and which is a huge fundamental of advertising, as we're seeing now, for example, with the Facebook ban and so on. So brand safety is a huge concern now. And, we believe Christopher has been ahead of the curve in addressing this particular issue. And for now, I'm going to skip this video because I'll play it at the end. I just want to get to the crux of what the software actually does. Now, what separates AI from bots? So we hate being called a bot because we're not a bot. So bots, it's based on algorithms, mostly binary. So if this, then that. Whereas AI, or at least our AI, dynamically learns and adapts itself to the environment as it engages with consumers. And it's gotten to a point where it even speaks vernac or slang or colloquial language, based on the big data it's receiving from interacting with various consumers on social media. Now, Christopher currently works on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. So we have API integrations and approvals on all three platforms. And I'll just show you how it basically works on social media. So here we're using an example of a brand called Telkom. Telkom is one of South Africa's largest telcos, so telecommunications companies. Now, how Christopher fundamentally works is that it has two components to it. It has a social listening aspect powered by AI and NLPs and image recognition, where it can pick up conversations taking place on social media and provide insights on the back of those conversations, and then serve a relevant brand ad. So for example, here, we're trying to promote Telkom during lockdown, as I said, which is a telco. So you can see this user asking, what else can one do? Oh, well, it's a weekend after all, stay at home. Traditionally, brands would not pick up on this conversation, even though it could be relevant for product placement. So in this case, you can see Christopher's detecting this conversation and replying and saying hi at the handle. Don't let your data balance be the reason your weekend is filled with FOMO. Get all you need to get connected. So it's slotting in a relevant brand message in a way that seems so organic and authentic to the consumer, driving resonance and personalization. So this is kind of where we started with Telkom, right? Now, as the AI learned, so the AI started learning, and this is kind of a rough overview of the learning process. Big data comes in, we integrated with Google Lens, with Azure, with sentiment. We have sentiment analysis with AWS and so on and so forth. And the AI then takes all these learnings, and eventually this is the level of personalization that you get. Where now someone speaks vernac, this is a local South African language, it's Zulu, where she's speaking in Zulu, and the software is able to understand that and respond back in Zulu, but still driving the brand message. Now, as you can see, the delivery of the ad format is completely organic. So to the consumer, it just appears that, Telkom community managers are on top of their game, but it's actually Christopher managing the community and allowing the brand to tap into conversations that they would otherwise not be able to tap into in order to drive product placement, awareness, and engagement. So it's amazing what we've done, and this is the language proficiency we've kind of achieved with Telkom, where the AI is starting to understand other vernacular languages based on the interaction with consumers and all the big data that it's analyzing. So we're proud to have achieved this in South Africa. And where the software can go, which I'll show you with a COVID example, which is a global issue right now, is where the AI kind of starts learning how to be a community manager. Instead of only dealing with the first layered response, it starts now knowing how to deal with the second and third layered response. And I'll show you how this works with the South African government. So Christopher is being used by our government here to manage coronavirus crisis communication. So when we announced lockdown, when the president announced that there's going to be a lockdown and certain regulations imposed, there were certainly a lot of questions from South Africans, asking what is an essential service and so on. Too much, definitely, for community managers to handle. And this is where we applied Christopher. So as you can see here, a South African is asking, is IT essential services? Most IT technicians are they working, or is it only government ones? The system analyzed this conversation, and by referencing literally a 70-page regulation document, a government gazette, it could pull a relevant answer, from that government gazette. So in this case, it will say, hi, at the handle. If you have any queries about what an essential service is, and if it applies to your sector, you can get in touch, and provides, the relevant details. Same example here, where people are querying about something, which is the UIF, Unemployment Insurance Fund. The software then served a relevant reply as well to that user. So the software really is showing an ability to understand what people are actually saying, understand a 70-page regulation document, and respond with relevant information, which is a breakthrough, for us, I think, even globally. As I said, we work with some global brands, and it's been a pleasure to hear some of them tell us that they have not interacted with such advanced natural AI before, and these are global brands. So we are proud that we could produce something of this nature, in Africa. These are just more examples, of our health department dealing with some issues, coronavirus related on social media, people speaking in Vernac. You can see here that citizens actually appreciated it, saying will do, thank you, and so on and so forth. Here, another one saying thank you, because she was asking a question, my head is pounding, did someone not just say that's also a symptom? Traditionally a government would not respond to this conversation. So to have your health department, responding to in such a personalized manner, mentioning your handle and telling you what symptoms are, we found that finds high resonance with users on social media. So this is an example of how Christopher works. We use that as a media tool and as a crisis communication tool specifically for government in South Africa. And so we can target, these are examples of things we can target. So we are integrated with Google Lens. We can target images, videos, keywords or topics, emojis and so on. And we also have click to WhatsApp ad formats. And really the campaign setup is all based on conversation. So right now, there are a lot of privacy concerns, because in order to drive a relevant ad, a social media platform has to collect as many data points around you as possible in order to drive the best ad as possible. Whereas we're using conversation as a driver. So if you have a public profile and your settings are, allow us to analyze your conversation like any listening tool, we pick up on the conversation and use that as a driver and collect a few other data points in order to know how a brand could respond to you. So step one of a campaign would be a pre-listening, where we do a social listening exercise. Then the brands usually do that to give us a guide of the campaign copy and creative, guiding the software and how it should and should not respond. A campaign will then go live. Upon going live, a live dashboard is available where you can see, transparently what the software is doing, how it's responding, and obviously then we have a reporting element. So we are running this quite successfully in 7 countries right now, with over 100 brands that we really enjoy working with. These are just some of our testimonials, some of the brands we work with. And so for us, it's been quite amazing to be able to build in Africa and out of Africa an organic artificial intelligence software that self-learns and that can adapt itself dynamically based on its interaction. I mean, I don't speak some of the languages that Christopher speaks. I'm South African, I speak English and Setswana. Christopher speaks 5 more languages than I do. And he speaks it fluently in a way that resonates with consumers. So it's been amazing for us to build out this technology. We hope in the future we can apply it, to other sectors as well. And we are currently white labeling the AI. So that's quite interesting for us. In 2 months' time, it will be available globally for people to have free access, or not free access, but access to it, to run your own campaigns, at minimal budgets, kind of democratizing access to this AI that we've believed we've built successfully without it having any bias. As we know, one of the topics I know in this conference is exploring how AIs can have bias. And through our teaching modules, which do have heavy human intervention, we've been able to stop that kind of bias from creeping into our Christopher software. And that is basically what we do. Thank you very much. If you do want to get in contact with us, you can go to our website, which is christopher.africa. And I hope to hear more and learn more from other industry experts in the field of media technology and artificial intelligence. We're definitely willing to work with all of you. We do have an in-house team of our own developers, and all of this is proudly South African built. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much to the Commodore. Everyone give a big virtual round of applause. If you're looking for your next agenda item, you can check on the program page to find your next session. And we'll be seeing you around in the networking sessions. Thank you again, and have a great day.